In the year 1017 AD, Ramanuja was born in the village of Perumbudur, about 25 miles west of Madras. His father was Kesava Somayaji, and his mother was Kantimati, a very pious and virtuous lady. Ramanuja's Tamil name was Ailaya Perumal. Quite early in life, Ramanuja lost his father. Then he came to Kanchipuram to prosecute his study of the Vedas under one Yadava Prakasha, a teacher of Advaita philosophy. Ramanuja was a very brilliant student. Yadava Prakasha's interpretations of Vedic texts were not quite up to his satisfaction. Ramanuja pointed out many mistakes in the exposition of his master. Sometimes he gave his own interpretations, which were much liked by all the co-students. This made Yadava Prakasha very jealous of Ramanuja. Yadava Prakasha made a plan to take away the life of Ramanuja. He arranged for Ramanuja and his cousin Govinda Bhatta, a fellow student, a pilgrimage to Varanasi. Govinda Bhatta, being a favorite student of Yadava Prakasha, came to know of the latter's plan while they were traveling. He at once apprised Ramanuja of the danger and helped him to escape. By the grace of God, Ramanuja escaped with the help of a hunter and his wife, whom he accidentally met on the way. About the end of the 10th century, the Vishishtadvaita system of philosophy was well established in southern India, and the followers of this creed were in charge of important Vaishnavite temples at Kanchipuram, Srirangam, Tirupati, and other important places. The head of the important Vaishnavite institution was Yamunacharya, a great sage and profound scholar, and he was also the head of the mutt at Srirangam. One of his disciples by name Kanchipurna was serving in the temple at Kanchipuram. Although a Sudra, Kanchipurna was so very pious and good that the people of the place had great respect and reverence for him. At present, there is a temple at Kanchipuram where Kanchipurna's image has been installed and where he is worshipped as a saint. Young Ramanuja came under Kanchipurna's influence and had such reverence for him that he invited him to dinner in his house. Ramanuja's intention was to attend on Kanchipurna and personally serve him at dinner and himself take meals afterwards. Unfortunately, Kanchipurna came to dinner when Ramanuja was not at home and took his meals being served by Ramanuja's wife. When Ramanuja returned home, he found the house washed and his wife bathing for having served meals to a Sudra. This irritated Ramanuja very much and turned him against his wife, who was an orthodox lady of a different social ideal. After a few incidents of this nature, Ramanuja abandoned the life of a householder and became a sannyasin. About this time, Yamunacharya, being very old, was on the lookout for a young person of good ability and character to take his place as head of the mutt at Srirangam. He had already heard of Ramanuja through his disciples and made up his mind to install Ramanuja in his place. He now sent for Ramanuja. By the time Ramanuja reached Srirangam, Yamunacharya was dead, and Ramanuja saw his body being taken by his followers to the cremation ground outside the village. Ramanuja followed them to the cremation ground. There, he was informed that Yamunacharya, before his death, had left instructions that he had 3 wishes which Ramanuja was to be requested to fulfill, viz., that a Vishishtadvaita Bhashya should be written for the Brahma Sutras of Vyasa, which hitherto had been taught orally to the disciples of the Vishishtadvaita philosophy, and that the names of Parasara, the author of Vishnu Purana, and Saint Sadagopa should be perpetuated. Ramanuja was deeply touched, and in the cremation ground itself, before the dead body of Yamunacharya, he made a solemn promise that, God willing, he would fulfill all the 3 wishes of Yamunacharya. Ramanuja lived for 120 years, and in the course of his long life, fully redeemed his promise by fulfilling all the 3 wishes of Yamunacharya. After the death of Yamuna, his disciples at Srirangam and other places wanted Ramanuja to take Yamuna's place as the head of the mutt at Srirangam. This was also the expressed wish of Yamuna. Accordingly, Ramanuja took his place and was duly installed with all the attendant ceremonies and celebrations as the head of the Vishishtadvaita mutt at Srirangam. Ramanuja then proceeded to Thirukotiyur to take initiation from Nambi for japa of the sacred mantra of 8 letters Om Namo Narayanaya. Somehow, Nambi was not willing to initiate Ramanuja easily. He made Ramanuja travel all the way from Srirangam to Madurai nearly 18 times before he made up his mind to initiate him, and that too only after exacting solemn promises of secrecy. Then Nambi duly initiated Ramanuja and said, Ramanuja, keep this mantra a secret. This mantra is a powerful one. Those who repeat this mantra will attain salvation. Give it only to a worthy disciple previously tried. But Ramanuja had a very large heart. He was extremely compassionate and his love for humanity was unbounded. He wanted that every man should enjoy the eternal bliss of Lord Narayana. He realized that the mantra was very powerful. He immediately called all people, irrespective of caste and creed, to assemble before the temple. He stood on top of the tower above the front gate of the temple and shouted out the sacred mantra to all of them at the top of his voice. Nambi, his guru, came to know of this. He became furious. Ramanuja said, "O my beloved guru, please prescribe a suitable punishment for my wrong action." Ramanuja said, "I will gladly suffer the tortures of hell myself if millions of people could get salvation by hearing the mantra through me." Nambi was very much pleased with Ramanuja and found out that he had a very large heart full of compassion. He embraced Ramanuja and blessed him. Having thus equipped himself with the necessary qualifications, Ramanuja succeeded Yamuna. By this time, Ramanuja's fame had spread far and wide. He became a good controversialist. Then he wrote his commentary on the Brahma Sutras, known as the Sri Bhashya. The Vishishtadvaita system is an ancient one. It was expounded by Bodhayana in his Vritti, written about 400 BC. It is the same as that expounded by Ramanuja, and Ramanuja followed Bodhayana in his interpretations of the Brahma Sutras. Ramanuja's sect of Vaishnavas is called by the name Sri Sampradaya. Ramanuja wrote also three other books: Vedanta Sara, Essence of Vedanta, Vedanta Sangraha, a resume of Vedanta, and Vedanta Deepa, the light of Vedanta. Ramanuja traveled throughout the length and breadth of India to disseminate the path of devotion. He visited all the sacred places throughout India, including Kashi, Kashmir, and Badrinath. On his way back, he visited the Tirupati hills. There he found the Saivites and the Vaishnavites quarreling with one another. One party contending that the image of the Lord in the Tirupati hills was a Saivite one, and the other party saying that it was a Vaishnavite one. Ramanuja proposed that they should leave it to the Lord himself to decide the dispute. So they left the emblems of both Shiva and Vishnu at the feet of the Lord. And after locking the door of the temple, both parties stayed outside on guard. In the morning, when they opened the doors, it was found that the image of the Lord was wearing the emblems of Vishnu, while the emblems of Shiva were lying at its feet as left there the evening before. This decided that the temple was a Vaishnavite one, and it has remained so ever since. Ramanuja then visited all the Vaishnavite shrines in South India and finally reached Srirangam. Here he settled himself permanently and continued his labors of preaching the Vishishtadvaita philosophy and writing books. Thousands of people flocked to him every day to hear his lectures. He cleansed the temples, settled the rituals to be observed in them, and rectified many social evils which had crept into the community. He had a congregation of 700 sannyasins, 74 dignitaries who held special offices of ministry, and thousands of holy men and women who revered him as God. He converted lakhs of people to the path of bhakti. He gave initiation even to washermen. He was now 70 years old, but was destined to live many more years, establish more mutts, construct more temples, and convert many more thousands of people. The Chola king about this time was Kulothonga I, and he was a staunch Saivite. He ordered Ramanuja to subscribe to his faith in Shiva and acknowledge Shiva as the Supreme Lord. Two of the disciples of Ramanuja, Kuresa and Mahapurna, donned the orange robes of sannyasins and visited the court of Kulothonga in place of Ramanuja. They argued there for the superiority of Vishnu. The monarch refused to hear them and had their eyes put out. The two unfortunate people started for Srirangam, their native place. Mahapurna was a very old man and, unable to bear the pain, died on the way. Kuresa alone returned to Srirangam. Meanwhile, Ramanuja, with a few followers, by rapid marches through day and night, reached the foothills of the Western Ghats, about 40 miles west of Mysore. There, after great difficulties, he established himself and spent some years in preaching and converting people to the Vishishtadvaita philosophy. The king of the place was Bhati Deva of the Hoysala dynasty. The Raja's daughter was possessed of some devil, and nobody was able to cure her. Ramanuja succeeded in exorcising the devil, and the princess was restored to her former health. The king was very much pleased with Ramanuja and readily became his disciple, and he was converted by Ramanuja into a Vaishnavite. Thereafter, Ramanuja firmly established himself in the Mysore king's dominions, constructed a temple at Melkote, and created a strong Vaishnavite community there. The Paryas, or depressed classes, now called Harijans, of the place, were of great service to Ramanuja, And Ramanuja gave them the right of entry inside the temple, which he constructed at Melkote on some fixed days and with some limited privileges which they enjoy to this day. Ramanuja constructed a few more Vishnu temples in and about Mysore, set up a strong Vaishnavite community, and put them in charge of his disciples to continue his work and spread the Vishishtadvaita philosophy and Vishnu worship throughout the king's dominions. Thus, he continued his labors here for nearly 20 years, and his followers numbered several thousands. Meanwhile, Kulothunga Chola I, who persecuted Ramanuja, died. The followers of Ramanuja immediately communicated the news to Ramanuja and requested him to come back to Srirangam. Ramanuja himself longed to go back to his followers in Srirangam and worship in the temple there. But his new disciples and followers at Melkote and other places in Mysore would not let him go, so he constructed a temple for himself, installed therein his own image for worship by his disciples and followers, and left the place for Srirangam. He was welcomed by his friends and disciples at Srirangam. The successor to Kulothunga Chola Great I was a pro-Vaishnavite, and Ramanuja was left undisturbed. Ramanuja continued his labors for 30 years more and closed his long active career after attaining the remarkable age of 120 years. Ramanuja was the exponent of the Vishishtadvaita philosophy or qualified non-dualism. Ramanuja's Brahman is Savishesha Brahman, i.e., Brahman with attributes. According to Ramanuja's teachings, Lord Narayana or Bhagavan is the supreme being. The individual soul is Chit, matter is Ashit. Ramanuja regards the attributes as real and permanent, but subject to the control of Brahman. The attributes are called prakaras or modes. Lord Narayana is the ruler and lord of the universe. The jiva is his servant and worshipper. The jiva should completely surrender himself to the Lord. The oneness of God is quite consistent with the existence of attributes, as the attributes or shaktis depend upon God for their existence.